Hello and welcome to another video by MyRetroComputer. Today we're going to talk BioStar, but before we do, I just wanted to give a shout out to everybody that's this year and the run up to Christmas, everybody that's bought a case. Thank you so much. Everything that you buying, spending money with MyRetroComputer is safeguarding the future of this case. Thank you so much. Since our last video, we've gained quite a lot of subscribers. I'm sorry we haven't brought anything out since Christmas, but we're going to start bringing more videos out now. Hopefully in the not too distant future we're going to do the Raspberry Pi adapter kit, which is well on its way to being produced now. So I'd like to thank everyone that's subscribed to us, everyone that's liked it, and even the people that haven't, just people that's watched it, watched the videos, seen what we've got to offer. Thank you so much, and we're over 300 subscribers now, so let's just push the boundaries and get that up to 500 and then on to 1,000. Thank you so much for watching these videos. I know I'm not the best articulator and getting this thing across, but I'm doing the best I can, and thank you for that. So the other thing I wanted to say is people are starting to do their own build videos now, and it's fantastic. So we've had Christopher and his son Joseph, and they've just done a build on the VIC20 or the My Vic20, and it's based on the Asus, no it's not, it's based on the ASRock J5040 board, mini-ITX board, which is quite a powerful board, and they've had some really good results. So I'll put the links down. They've done 2 videos now, and I'll put the links on this so that you can actually see their build videos. One's the build, and then the second one is testing some stuff on there. So that's pretty good, and it just proves anyone can build these things. It's very simple now compared to what it was like years ago. Very easy to build, and this is another easy build that we're going to do today. So let's move on to the board. So it's a BioStar A68N, and it's a very cheap board. So you could sort of like this would be on par with a Raspberry Pi 4. Don't get me wrong, it's more powerful than a Raspberry Pi 4, but not by much. And this cost MyRetroComputer £42. So for that, you open this up. So for that, you get the motherboard. You also get the central processing unit, and you get the heatsink and the fan. The only thing that's missing off this to complete it is the 2 sticks of RAM. So what we're going to do is we're going to build this up. I'm not going to spend as much time on showing you how to build these because we've covered that already, and it takes a lot of time explaining. So I'm just going to crack on with this now and install this into the system, install this into the case. I will roughly go over this. There's a few things I want to highlight, and also I want to leave the multi-format card reader in place, so we won't use the adapter plate with the hole in the side. So we've got a problem straight away. Where's the power coming? So we'll go on to that. So let's move straight on to the build. Okay, so this is the list for building our retro looking PC. Components required for this build: we need a BioStar A68N-5600E mini-ITX system on a chip motherboard. That was a mouthful. That currently from Amazon UK is £57, but when we bought these boards a couple of weeks ago they were only 42. We need 2 4GB sticks of DDR3 RAM. These are £18.42 each from Amazon UK. You don't need 2. If you want to do the build with just 1 and save a little bit of money, then that's fine, but the system will be a tad slower. We need a Seagate Barracuda 500GB 2.5-inch hard drive. At the moment this is £35 from mini-ITX.com. Now you don't have to, as long as it's a 2.5-inch SATA drive, you can use any drive you want. It could be a solid state or a standard hard drive. It could be a 500GB or 1TB, whatever suits your build and your budget. We need a Pico PSU 90 watt. This comes with a 5-year warranty from mini-ITX.com and is currently £33. We also need an 80 watt AC universal adapter for the Pico PSU, and this is £25 from mini-ITX.com. All these prices are plus VAT, by the way. And we also need a 40cm mini SATA cable for the SATA Slimline optical drive. Now I recommend a 40cm because I'd rather have too much cable than not enough, and many a time I've used the 15cm cable and it's not long enough to reach the SATA socket. So these are £5 plus VAT from mini-ITX.com, and the total price for this build, excluding the cases, is £176.84p. But if you're only getting one stick of RAM, then it's £158.42. And this is all available from mini-ITX.com. Apart from the BioStar board, I don't think they stock that, but you can get that from Amazon. Tools required: we need an ESD wrist strap, side cut pliers, or if you haven't got side cut pliers, scissors, and a Phillips screwdriver set, or a Phillips screwdriver or a small screwdriver set. They're very handy, and it would be beneficial if you get a magnetic screwdriver because it helps you put the screws on the end as well. And that's everything required for this build. So once you've got everything ready, we can move on to the next section. So all you've missed out on at the moment is I've installed the motherboard with the 4 screws and the rear I/O shield. And now I'm trying to position these wires, cable management again. I've also put in the Pico PSU, and I'm trying to figure out a way to do this. So we've got the chip power section here that plugs in there, and I'm thinking to myself, if I push the power socket wire over to that area there, I could plug that in, and that sort of like keeps that locked in that position. But then I've still got these wires, and I'm frightened that they might make their way over to the fan. And then I come up with the idea of, why don't I take the fan power out like this and pull it out, and then put both wires down there, and then plug the power back in, and then the wires are securely held down there, so I can put this one into position. So this is cable management without the need for any cable ties. So I'm pretty happy with that. It could be a little bit neater, but it's pretty good. Now, I just looked at the booklet that comes with this motherboard, and to be fair, it's got some really good points. I mean, it's not a booklet. You open it up as a like a poster type thing. But the one thing it needed, I'm pretty impressed with this, but the one thing it didn't have on there, and why I'm impressed by the way, is because it's big writing, you can actually see the words, is it needed a picture of the motherboard really, and then it could have explained and showed you where all the connectors are. So it shows you the interfaces, but you can't see them on the board, but I've managed to find them anyway. So there's 2 USB 2 headers here, header 1 and header 2. So obviously, because we've got the card reader installed and we need one spare for the keyboard, so we're going to put the card reader into this position, and that's position 1, USB 1, and the keyboard will be USB 2, purely because of cable management. If I do them around the other way, it'd be more awkward. So that's our next project. So this card reader cable comes with a little zip type thing that most cables come with in today's day and age, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to undo this, and the only trouble with these is because it's been in this position for so long, it kind of wants to do, the cable thinks it's in charge, so we've got to say, no, Mr. Cable, you're not in charge, we are. So I'm trying to put a little bit of warmth into the cable to make it do what I want it to do, because obviously we need to route this around. So I've done that, it's got a little bit of warmth in there now. So I'm going to come round, and again this will need cable management. This will need out of the nice little pack that we get, we're going to use a couple of those cable glue-on cable panel things. Right, so we're looking at the no pin position on this, but it's a double header, so the no pin position on this plug is there, and we're going to line that up with a no pin on the motherboard and then plug that in. And again, that's going down there, and we're going to need to cable tie that. I'm not going to do that yet because obviously we've got these wires and we can cable tie them all together at the same time. Here, by the way, is the metal plate that is a replacement to the card reader. We're not going to use this on this instance, but it's still in the pack anyway. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to install the 2.5 inch hard drive. Now this build is a cheap build, i.e. £42 for the motherboard. I didn't go for solid state, so this is 240GB mechanical 2.5 inch. Again, I'm going to put it in at a slight angle, work its way in until it clicks into place. Just let it drop down. Now you can screw this underneath. The screws are in the kit, but we're not going to do that. I'm just going to let gravity take its do its thing. People have asked me, can we have two hard drives? Yes, the actual metal plate is good enough. It's designed to hold a hard drive on the base of it. You can also, as other people have done, you can also mount a hard drive upside down and screw it into these screw holes. So in theory, you could have a hard drive underneath, you could have a hard drive upside down, you could have hard drive clipped into here, so you can have three 2.5 inch hard drives actually purposely put in there that could be fixed into position. Or alternatively, you could have one hard drive and remove this, and you could have a DVD drive here as well. Other people have asked me whether it's possible to put a 2.5 inch hard drive, sorry, a 3.5 inch hard drive in this. I'm sorry, the answer is no. You used to be able to do this when it was the Commodoreusa producing it, but we're using our own unique metal bracket, and it doesn't accommodate the 3.5 inch. I will put a link to where you can buy the original bracket that Commodoreusa used to supply, and if you bought that bracket separately, I think it's a Bitech bracket, if you bought that bracket then you can put a 3.5 inch hard drive in. The only problem with those brackets is you have to drill 4 holes for the DVD drive because the holes don't line up. Well, they do, but when you put the DVD drive in, unfortunately it's back too far, so it's actually in the case. It's in about 10mm, so you'd have to pull it forward to the right position, and then there's no holes, so you'd have to drill 4 holes, which is quite involved, and why we didn't go down that route, to be fair. But if you did want a 3.5 inch hard drive, there is a way to do it. But to be fair, I don't see any point, because a 2.5 inch hard drive today is, you can go up to I think 4 terabytes, or 2 terabytes at least, and for this case I think that's quite ample, and you can have up to 3 in here. You could probably stack them underneath as well, so you might even get away with 4 hard drives if you wanted to go down that route. Of course, power would be a problem then, because the more power you put in. That's another reason why we didn't go for the 3.5 inch. Again, because this is a small system and we're using the Pico power, 3.5 inch hard drives draw more power than a 2.5 inch hard drive, so that's one of the other reasons. Anyway, so the 2.5 inch is in place. We need this specialist, let me read this off because I always get it wrong. What's it called? It's called a SATA cable for Slimline optical drive. So remember, this is a specialist cable for a DVD drive really, but because this is a DVD drive that is an adapter to enable you to fit a 2.5 inch hard drive, it still needs that Slimline laptop. And I always recommend a longer cable because they come in different cable lengths, and it depends on the motherboard, but I've found that if you get the smaller one, if you've got a motherboard where the SATA connections are over here, the smaller ones aren't long enough to reach, so it's better to get the longer one, because you can always cable manage and roll it up so that it's not in the way. Like this is already folded up like that, so and that is ample. So if I was to plug this in, which I'm going to do now, it would be round the wrong way, wouldn't it? If I was to plug this in into that plug position now, you know, the cable management is pretty good. No, it's not. Let's do that again. I'll have to. It looked all right before I plugged it in. Again, remember, cables always look to think they're in charge, and you've got to tell those cables who's really in charge. And sometimes that means trying to drive a bit of heat into the cable to sort of like shape it into the right position. After a while, these cables will stay where you want them to, but you know, it needs a few days for that to happen. Okay, so we've got the power to the hard drive, and this is a Molex. Remember, it's always line the red up to the red. They're only one way, so if you had it around the wrong way, you wouldn't be able to plug it in anyway. And I always try to put these in at a slight angle. That's in. So let's put that underneath. Out of the way. So we're looking quite good. It's just that this, I tend to, with these SATA cables, I tend to put them underneath the hard drive and then mount them. It's annoying that whenever you get these cables, the perfect way round ends up to be the wrong way round. You've got to turn it the other way and force it. But anyway, putting that in. So that's finished. All I've got to do, and again, I've tried to keep this video as short as I possibly can, but I talk so much. You don't need no music with me on these because it's non-stop talking. But I did try to make this, or I have tried to make this as short as possible, but I've been rambling away here, haven't I? Anyway, so remember what I said last time, always put the cable tie in before you put it down, because otherwise you can never thread this cable tie into the pad afterwards, or the mount, should I say. Cable tie mount, that's the right word for it. So I'm positioning this mount between the vents of the case so I don't block it up, but it's quite difficult to put this in place. Okay, so now I want to utilise all the cables I can into this position, and I'm looking and I'm thinking this original card reader header wants to go under these cables. It'd be better like that. Let's put it back into place. Right, and then if we go like that, what else have we got in here that we need to cable manage? So we've got that there, that wants to go around that side. It's only these cables here. So the only other bit of cable management that we're going to have to do is with the keyboard. This is a very simple build, and if I'll keep my trap shut, it would have been even quicker, I think. I've done something very naughty as well, and I forgot all about it, and that is I forgot to put my ESD strap on. I do apologise. I bet a lot of you have noticed that, but never mind, it's too late now. I haven't touched it, to be fair, the motherboard that much anyway. Okay, so Mr. Snips, side cutters, let's cut that cable tie. So to recap, cable management wise, I'm quite happy with how that's gone. I love having things nice and tidy. The next thing to do that I haven't done yet, that I should have done, is the chassis fan. So let's feed that underneath these. I have no idea where this has got to go. I've got to look, and then we'll plug. Oh, I think I've found it. Cool, that is an awkward place to see, that is. Okay, I think it's down here. There we go. Now I'm going to move that underneath the SATA so that it kind of is out of the way. Now the only thing I really do want to put a cable tie around is this. Mind you, I said that's not going to be able to come up. Shall I leave that like that? Okay, I'm happy with that. So everything's ready to go. The only thing we haven't done now is the fitting the keyboard. Again, the keyboard goes into this USB header here. The power connectors, the front panel connectors. So for our case, it's only a power switch and a power light is across here. So I'm not going to video that. I'm just going to put this together, and then we'll go on to installing the OS. Okay, so it's all finished, it's all buttoned up, ready to go. There's one thing that I'm not quite happy with. It's too late for me, but I don't want you to make the same mistake, and that is when I drilled the hole for the power, it should have been that way, about another 3mm, because when you plug the HDMI lead in, it's rather close to the power plug. They're touching each other, so that's something to bear in mind whether you're doing a build for the BioStar or another build and you want to utilise the card reader like I do. So you need to be able to put the power into the back. It's just something to bear in mind. Maybe even put the plugs in place so you can actually work out where you're going to drill the hole. But there's something to bear in mind. Okay, so let's put the power in. And the HDMI in and power this up. So what we're going to install on this, I thought it would be nice to do a Linux operating system as opposed to Windows, and we're going to install Manjaro. We're going to use the GNOME desktop, so I'm going to go on and do that right now. But before I do, I just wanted you to see this operating system that I just quickly installed just to see whether it would work, and that is the Commodoreusa operating system. Put the password in for this. So this is the operating system that Commodoreusa brought out in 2011, and it's available on the website under Commodoreusa or CUSA on our webpage, and there's a link there to the torrents, and you can download the two torrents, disc 1 and disc 2. If you're going to install it, it's gone on here okay. I did it via a flash drive, but it was quite finicky because it's designed to be installed via DVD. So if you're going to do it, I'd advise installing a DVD drive in the side and then burning disc 1 and disc 2 and doing it that way. This is installed and it's only the disc 1 because the second disc is the extras and all the special effects and everything, because there's a lot of effects to be put onto this. It's an old system now, it's not supported anymore, but it was just to see what it was like. It's pretty good. I quite like it. But like I say, it's old now. But just to have a look at it and see what it was all about, really. There's different backgrounds that people have done. I don't know whether these Commodoreusa's are or whether there's someone else's. It doesn't say who, but it's something to investigate and have a look at anyway. So what we're going to do now is I've got Manjaro on this flash drive, so I want to install it now, and then I'll be back soon and we can have a look. Okay, so we've installed Manjaro. It's up and running, and I'm quite impressed with it. I've watched a few videos on people installing this operating system, and I chose it because it's low on resources. It's not going to stress the motherboard out, because bearing in mind this is a low powered motherboard. It's not very powerful. It can't play anything near modern games. It can retro game. Anything that you can play on a Raspberry Pi 4 you'd be able to play on this. So in that instant, for £42 it's a cheap motherboard. But obviously one of the reasons, well, I could have gone down using a Linux, a sort of like a light version of Linux that's made for old PCs, and I thought, well, we could have done that, but it's not an old PC, so let's try this, and it's alright, it's working okay. So one thing I wanted to say straight away is I'm a Windows user, and from being from a Windows background, I have from time to time tried to use Linux, and I just don't get on with it. You know, sorry, I'm a lazy git, I suppose, but I like a lot of the when you install Linux, the first thing, or any operating system, you want to customize it and change things around. And on some of these operating systems, it's okay, you can do it. Like for instance, if I right click, I can change the background, but on some distros I've installed, there's nothing on the right click. Now I know that I can make something come on the right click by going into the settings, but I'm lazy. I don't want to have to do that. I just want it to be there, and it is there on this distro. So that's one thing straight away that I like. Now the other thing is I've just typed in layout switcher because I watched someone talk about this, and I thought this is fantastic. This is so I can change it. So at the moment this is how it's come. I've started the operating system up, and I've got a dock down the side, down the left hand side. But if I go to traditional and apply, it's going to change the layout, and it's going to mimic Windows. So I've got a start menu down there. So everything's as it would be if it was a Windows desktop. So I'm very happy with that. I like that. I've got a trash can, I've got home up here. I can change some icons around if I want to. I like this. And then something else that I can do, because this is called a layout switcher, if I want to, I can change it to, if I was from a Macintosh background or an Apple background, click apply. It's going to change it again and give me a dock down the bottom. I think this is fantastic. Now I know that you can do this on other distros, but this is so easy. It's all about ease of use, and I really like this. I think this is fantastic. Now this, I think, is a Linux distro that I could get into straight away. It's ideal for a beginner, someone that's never used Linux before. I think this is a fantastic little operating system to get into. So I'd recommend you guys, instead of putting Windows on there, try this operating system out. I think it's got a lot of potential. So let's move on to our website. We've got a little disclaimer down here that says if you purchase from outside the UK, you may need to pay import duty or VAT. Now I know a lot of countries, there's a threshold, and if the product is over a certain amount of money, then they have to pay import duties. For instance, in America, I think it's over a certain amount, like hundreds and hundreds of dollars, then they have to pay import duty. But anything underneath that doesn't get picked up. So one of these cases, when we sell this to America, it goes direct to the customer. They get it within 2 to 3 days, and they don't pay any charges. Europe, however, since the UK's left Europe, now people from Europe buying these cases are slapped with VAT and a handling charge of some sort. MyRetroComputer can't be held responsible for those charges. I'm terribly sorry about these charges. We're not even VAT registered, so how the Europe can actually add VAT to it is beyond me. But you know, we've left the UK, and this is what we've got to put up with. So I just want to apologise about this, but there's nothing that we can do about that. So I just want to get that out of the way. So if we go off of this website and onto this funny looking YouTube channel here, where we've got some of these videos, I just wanted to load the video up so you can see how fast they load. So this is 1080p, but it loaded up really quick, and I'm quite happy with that as well, because I've been watching some videos where people are using an old PC and they're using a very lightweight Linux, and it's taking a long time to load the video, and this isn't doing that. This is loading it straight away. So and it's pretty responsive. I'm clicking on all these buttons, turning them off, you know, and we just launched Firefox, and it doesn't take that long to come up. It's not too bad at all. I quite like this. I think this operating system is a great operating system, and I am going to persevere with this and try this out. By the way, I put that desktop background on there. Let's display settings, change background. I like this, we can do it straight away, it's very easy. So let's change the background to something else. I like that one. So there we go, let's X out of that. What a lovely background that is. So that's it, that's what we're doing this week. So if you've liked this video and if you've liked any of the other videos, please subscribe and please click the like button as well, and turn notifications on so you can get informed when we bring out a new video. The next video we're bringing out is the Raspberry Pi adapter kit. I hope it will be in the next week or so. I was hoping to be able to do it this weekend, but they didn't arrive, so probably next weekend we're getting the prototypes and I'll be able to do a Raspberry Pi build, so you can actually see how simple it is. Again, personally, I don't see the point in doing a Raspberry Pi when you can. There's a build here that's more powerful than a Raspberry Pi, and the actual initial board's only £42. So, but it's there, the option's there. So if you want to install a Raspberry Pi in this case, very shortly you'll be able to do that. But thank you very much, and we'll see you soon.